my name is Stephanie, but you can call me Steph. Today I want to do something a little bit different than I might normally do on one of these videos, which is a product demonstration or something of that nature. Maybe this falls in line, but I'm not explicitly trying to demonstrate a product. I just want to go over the process of what I'm doing and how I'm iterating and sort of what's happening, right? To be transparent and what the project is, I have been on the job hunt since the end of August 2023 when I was laid off with about 15% of my company in my role as web product owner for a SaaS low-code product. That's a lot of big words and it means a lot of things. If you're in tech, it clicks. If you're not in tech, basically I help to dream up the future and features that would go into a product that companies would use to build out customized processes, connecting different processes and data, both collected from internal sources, vendors. The product was used oftentimes in QA, HR, all types of things. Low code is extremely accessible if it's something you're interested in, you want to get into development. Highly suggest going and checking that out. But that's not what this video is about. Today, I want to go over and work with an AI tool. Specifically, I'm working with ChatGPT because it's open source, it's free, and it's easy to use. I've used it a few times for a couple of other things. And so one of the things that I've tried to maintain since actually I was in college is some job searching artifacts, right? I have resumes, a couple of different resumes that I use and update frequently. When I say frequently, when I get a new role or I complete a project or any of those types of things, I try to update those resources the same way I would do my LinkedIn profile or other artifacts that help me land jobs, right? I also do freelance work, so it's really important to keep that up to date when I complete information. So today specifically, I want to focus on my resume and my cover letter. And so I've opened up an instance of ChatGPT here. I've been using this for a little while. I want to see if one ChatGPT can actually build or construct a resume for me that is different or gives me different suggestions than what I already have within my current resume that I've been using, which I updated obviously last quarter. I have added new roles since then. I've started a new volunteering role. So as far as I can tell, that's actually getting through the ATS systems. I know this in part because I'm getting rejections much faster than I was last quarter. So the updates that I've made from August to now are actually serving a good purpose. One of the pieces that I haven't been doing, just from hearing and seeing different, pieces of advice, that's what I'm looking for. Pieces of advice about the job hunt in today's market is if they're not asking for a cover letter, don't do it. So I haven't been doing it. Depending on the role, if it's a more senior role, something that I haven't done directly, I am trying to add cover letters. And so what I did is, as you can see here, is my instance of ChatGPT, and I just asked it, hey, can you do this for me? Can you help me write an ATS, an application tracking system, friendly resume? And I want you to prompt me with questions, right? And so ChatGPT, always happy to help, give me some information. And so what I did is I looked at it and I kind of reviewed back and forth on my resume. And you can see here it's saying, make sure you include this. And it's given me a bulleted list. So really I could turn that into a checklist. I could copy this response or I could redo this response and say, hey, give me this response in checklist format, and then take that checklist, put it somewhere else, and actually go through the checklist and make sure. Mentally, I did that, and really, my resume contains a lot of these things. One of the things that I have been doing on the job hunt, and I've sort of always kind of kept an eye and an ear out in job hunting world because I do a little bit of mentorship. When I was in college, I helped co-found a student organization. You can learn more about that on my website. It's called Code Devils at ASU. Go Code Devils, Sun Devils, all that whole thing. But yeah, I like to just sort of keep an eye on what's happening in job market areas and keep my skills up, both interviewing and when I'm, giving advice or talking with people. It's something I like to keep abreast on. So, or my ear to the floor, I don't know, whatever the saying is that is appropriate. But, so I did a mental checklist, and I absolutely have all of these things. I even have public engagements, like speaking engagements, added on there. I've done public speaking for Slack at different schools and things. How did you, basically being a panelist member on how we use the tool to set up other things. It's a whole other whatever. But anyways, I did all of those things in this resume. Fantastic. But it's not, and I want to train this instance of ChatGPT to speak with me and kind of learn how I talk and function. But I'm pretty specific, so I want to be clear that I'm considering it, what it's given me. And so I specifically said, hey, I've pretty much included everything you said, except for the job summary bit. There's a lot of back and forth about whether that's appropriate, and I think it depends on your industry. For me, in tech, it doesn't seem to be necessary, but I could be wrong. Somebody, let me know if you think that is something that's necessary within a resume. But I've heard oftentimes in tech it's not quite there, especially if you got in my resume I have active links. I've gotten really good feedback on that, actually, that the active links within my resume are helpful. They lead to all different sorts of resources, but one of those links is my LinkedIn, and so on the fence about whether or not those particular things are necessary. So I told ChatGPT, thanks, I really appreciate it, but I did all that stuff and I'm not really getting anywhere with it. So, I asked, give me some recommendations on what I can do, how I can improve, and gave me yet another bulleted list. A part of AI prompting, one of the things that I've learned is you can tailor its output. I'm not being very specific here, but if I wanted to, I could say, again, give it to me in a checklist format, give it to me in a table format, give it to me in some format I can easily copy and paste into some other tool, right? So that's something to think of if you want to go down this route and to do a similar exercise for yourself. But here's the response that the tool provided. It said, tailor your resume. If you do any searches on social media or YouTube, whatever, you're going to hear a lot of these same things, which is probably why it's giving this back. And these are things that I typically try to do when I'm applying for jobs. I also don't apply for most jobs on job boards like LinkedIn or Indeed. I go to the company's website to verify, hey, is that a real job, and then apply directly on their company site versus the easy applies and that sort of thing. It's nice and easy. You could submit a ton of applications speedy by using the job boards that way, but I found just over the years I get much better quality results by going to the company and avoiding scams that way, because that's a real thing, especially in this day and age. So I reviewed all of these suggestions that the tool gave me, and some of this makes sense. Some of these things I'm doing, a lot of them, as a matter of fact, I'm doing, but not all of them. And so, you know, reviewing what it has to say about like just crafting and wording, I'm like, cool, that all makes sense. I appreciate what you've said. Thanks, tool. I don't know why I'm talking to the tool like it's a person, but maybe if we train the AI that way, it'll start talking back to me in that way, and you know, it won't be just like excited randomly, all whatever. Just me testing out the tool. So here you see the next prompt that was like, awesome. Of that list, one of the things that, again, I haven't really been doing is a cover letter that's a back and forth thing on whether or not it's necessary. So I do want to start providing a cover letter because my experience is really varied, and what I do as a consultant is pretty vast. It's project management, it's product ownership and management, it's development. It's a lot of the things that really I do as a business owner myself on a website. So, you know, it can be anything from data analysis and user research and whatever a client needs in the realm of their marketing website. I do a lot of that, and if I can't do it, I reach out to my network and say, hey, person, friend, can you help me do X, Y, and Z for this client? So I am always open about my limitations, but I also, it's hard to explain that succinctly within one or two sentences and get the point across, right? I can't even do it in words, and I've been practicing, believe me. I am definitely practicing on it. So anyways, back to the tool. It's like, hey, I've done a lot of these things, and as I mentioned, I've kept resources on hand for, you know, when I need to apply for jobs. So one of these is a cover letter, and I was like, you know what? You mentioned a cover letter. Let's work on that resource. Let's see if you can help me improve. And so what I did, and again, part of this is learning how to do a little bit of AI prompting. And so I asked it, if I give you the contents of my cover letter, let's work together to edit it. And it would be similar as if I paid somebody to do this service, but I'm just doing it on my own time. So what I did, when you do documents like this, I've read in different places, it's a good idea to put it in quotation marks, especially if you're wanting it to like read and update and all those types of things. So you'll notice here versus other prompts, I'm a little bit more specific about what's what in this. So I've dropped the information from my cover letter that I've been using. I do update it and change it, so on and so forth. But I noted to the AI, to the tool, this is what I'm looking for. These are roles that I'm typically looking for. So it also allows it to think about resources that fall within HATE or other role types that fall within these skill sets. And then how to update for different companies. So again, it just gave me a bulleted list, and nice enough, it actually did give me a revised like last paragraph, which was cool. I liked it some, and again, I'm trying to be very conversational with this particular tool. So here I am reviewed the output, and I like that it's given it to me in these bullet points, because what that means now in a chain of thought, if you look into prompt engineering, a chain of thought type of thing, I can say very specifically, I like what you've given me, I like what I have, let's mind meld a little bit more. And I've specifically called out, I want your point 1 and your point 4 and your revised ending in a whole new format. And you'll notice when it spits it back out to me, it's given it back to me in those quotation marks. It's also given me the variables back, role, company, those types of things. And it even creates a new one, or it suggests somewhere, I thought it